On an ordinary day, you're preparing dinner for your family one evening. Your partner decides to run an errand with your son. It's not very far, so they shouldn't take very long. Everything is as it should be. Your family is even in town visiting. Your parents are watching television, the evening news to be exact, when live coverage comes in of a horrible accident that had just occurred. Your mother yells at you because the car in the accident is all too familiar. Once you see the TV, your heart stops and you immediately reach for the phone. You call your partner, but no answer. Actually, no answer at all. Then you call the hospitals and they cannot give you any answers. So you decide to drive to the crash site with your father. Once you get there, it's not good news. You had just lost your partner and your son to a drunk driver. This is Alicia's story. On May 22nd, 2002, a drunk driver was driving the wrong way on a highway and struck 11 cars, killing 4 people, including her husband, and her son. On December 2012, Dottie Griffith, Public Education Director for American Civil Liberties Union of Texas, once said, "Research on checkpoints identifies increased public awareness of the dangers of drunk driving as a primary value of sobriety checkpoints. However, public education can be achieved without tying up law enforcement officers on the side of the road, screening large numbers of innocent drivers." Well, Ms. Griffith, 10 years later, and drunk driving still remains a problem in Texas. According to the Department of Transportation, statistics show that Texas has the highest fatality rate due to drunk driving. In 2012, Texas reported having close to 1,300 deaths due to drunk driving. We cannot ignore statistics anymore. I do understand that we cannot completely eliminate drunk driving, but we can take measures to prevent it. So because Texas leads the way with most fatalities in the United States, we should ask our government to allow sobriety checkpoints to be conducted. My name is Ella Puente, and through extensive research and personal experience, I am able to share with you what are sobriety checkpoints, the real purpose behind them, and a state that actually conducts them. So what are sobriety checkpoints? Sobriety checkpoints are defined as procedures in which law enforcement officers restrict traffic flow in a designated specific location so they can check drivers for signs of alcohol impairment. In other words, this tactic is much better than just patrolling the streets because it gives officers a chance to interact with people to check for signs and symptoms of alcohol consumption. Some may disagree with this because they say it violates our Fourth Amendment. Our Fourth Amendment says that the people are protected from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. However, they are not guaranteed. In one case, in 1990, the Supreme Court ruled that sobriety checkpoints, in fact, did not violate the Fourth Amendment in Michigan Department of State Police versus Stitz. They said that preventing alcoholic-related crashes and deaths outweighs the slight intrusion on drivers. Now that we know what sobriety checkpoints are and that they are legal according to the Supreme Court, we can actually define their real purpose. So the real purpose of a sobriety checkpoint is to deter drunk driving. It is not to actually search or seize a vehicle without reasonable cause. It is also to give drivers the impression that if they drink and drive, they will get caught, they will get arrested and charged with a DUI. driving under the influence or driving while intoxicated. So, with this impression in mind, it also gives the public the sense of using designated drivers, taxis, and other means of transportation to get from one place to the other if they have been drinking. Now, through personal experience, I can tell you that sobriety checkpoints are not a major intrusion on one's life when traveling. I travel frequently to Arizona where sobriety checkpoints are legal. Now that we know that the state of Arizona allows sobriety checkpoints, I will give you a little bit of information as to how they do so. The Pima County Sheriff's Department are the people who conduct the sobriety checkpoints. Now, they follow strict guidelines. First, they submit plans that include statistics and records as to drunk driving, maps where these locations are, their hours of operation, how they will conduct themselves, and the personnel participating in the sobriety checkpoint. Once these plans get authorized, they conduct briefings with the personnel who will be participating in the sobriety checkpoints. Then they publicize them, making sure that the public is well aware that sobriety checkpoints will be conducted on a specific day, but they do not give the specific location. Once they are conducting the sobriety checkpoint, officers stop the vehicles. They greet the people by saying, "Good evening, this is a sobriety checkpoint aimed at deterring impaired driving. Have you consumed alcohol today?" Depending on what the driver says is how the police officer will react. They also look for signs and symptoms on whether they have been drinking alcohol beverages or any other drugs, not just solely based on their answers. Pima County Sheriff's Department has had a success rate. They have dropped fatalities and crashes due to drunk driving by 60%. Now that we see that they have worked in other states, we can petition the state of Texas to allow sobriety checkpoints. Texans are proud of living in Texas, but they should also think about the statistics on drunk driving. That is not something that we should be very proud of, especially if we lead the way in fatalities in this nation. Now that we have discussed what sobriety checkpoints are, their real purpose, and that they do in fact work, we need to ask our Texas government to act. I must also ask you, please don't drink and drive. Please tell your friends and family not to drink and drive. Please use designated drivers. Please use a taxi service, or just call a friend or family member to pick you up. Don't drink and drive. Please don't wait till it's too late. Please don't wait till tragedy crashes into your home. Thank you.